Artificial intelligence is advancing quickly. New models, new tools, and new breakthroughs seem to appear almost every week. Most of the attention has focused on what these systems can do, and how they might change industries, jobs, and everyday life. But something quieter is happening alongside that progress. Around the world, governments are beginning to write the rules that will govern how AI can be built, deployed, and controlled. And those rules are starting to look very different depending on where you are. At first glance, it may seem like routine regulation, but over time, these diverging rulebooks could reshape how artificial intelligence develops and how the global technology industry is organized.
It's not the future. It's now.
We're new on YouTube, so get in early and subscribe. Cheers. Over the past few years, governments have started to move from talking about artificial intelligence to regulating it. The European Union has taken the most formal approach so far. In 2024, it passed the EU AI Act, one of the first major attempts to create a comprehensive legal framework for artificial intelligence. The law classifies AI systems by risk level and places strict requirements on areas like biometric surveillance, transparency, and how the models are trained. In the United States, the approach has been more fragmented. Rather than one sweeping law, regulation is emerging through executive orders, agency guidance, and existing legislation. The focus has largely been on encouraging innovation while introducing targeted guardrails around safety and national security.
Listen, this is the single most important economic question in the country and in the world. Who wins the race for AI?
Then China has taken another route. Its government has introduced rules specifically aimed at generative AI systems, requiring companies to register algorithms, follow strict content controls, and ensure that their systems comply with state regulations. 3 major technology regions, 3 different regulatory philosophies, and 3 very different environments for building artificial intelligence into the future. At first glance, none of this feels particularly dramatic. Regulation rarely does. Most headlines about artificial intelligence focus on the technology itself. The new models, tools, new capabilities that I just said are appearing almost every week. Much of the public conversation revolves around novelty. For example, idiots like myself who basically only use AI to make stupid videos of dogs working in McDonald's.
Hey, can I get a Big Mac meal with fries? Thanks.
AI slop for the win. The rules shaping the technology tend to receive far less attention. They're technical, slow-moving, and often buried inside policy discussions that don't really make for exciting news. But regulation quietly shapes entire industries. It determines what companies are allowed to build, what products can enter a market, and how technologies are designed in the first place. In other words, innovation doesn't happen in a vacuum. It happens inside the rules that governments create. Once those rules start to diverge, technology companies face a practical challenge. They can no longer assume that one product will work everywhere. A system that compiles with European regulations may need adjustments before it can operate in another market. Data rules may require companies to store or process information differently. Governments may impose different standards around transparency, safety testing, or acceptable outputs. Over time, that begins to change how companies can build their systems. Instead of one global platform, firms may start creating region-specific versions. Development pipelines split, compliance teams grow, infrastructure may need to be duplicated across jurisdictions, and none of this happens overnight. What does this mean? What does all of it mean? What does the next 5 years of AI look like? Well, if these regulatory paths continue to diverge, which they almost certainly will, the global AI landscape could begin to reorganize. Large technology firms may increasingly design systems with specific markets in mind: China, Europe, America, and so on. Investment may also begin to cluster around regions where companies feel they can operate most predictably, places with less red tape. Governments, meanwhile, are already investing heavily in national AI strategies. Over time, these decisions could begin shaping the geography of artificial intelligence. Some regions may prioritize safety and oversight, others may prioritize speed and commercial deployment, and some may integrate AI closely into national industries and government systems, and let's not even get started on national security. That is a scary thought, but we all know it's coming. If this trend continues, several different outcomes are possible. In the best case scenario, governments gradually coordinate around shared standards. Regulations may differ slightly from place to place, but core principles around safety and transparency remain compatible enough for technology to move relatively freely across borders. A more likely outcome, however, is partial fragmentation. Major regions develop their own regulatory systems, and companies increasingly tailor their systems for specific markets. The most disruptive scenario would be a harder split. Governments begin treating artificial intelligence as strategic infrastructure, introducing stricter export controls, tighter national regulations, and limits on cross-border technology sharing. In that world, AI development becomes closely aligned with geopolitical blocs. So in closing, artificial intelligence is often discussed as a single global technology, advancing at the same pace in the same direction everywhere for everybody. But technology rarely evolves in isolation, and AI certainly is not. It develops inside legal systems, political priorities, and economic incentives. Right now, the foundations of artificial intelligence are still shared across much of the world, but the rules shaping how it can be built and deployed are beginning to take very different paths. And over the next few years, those different paths may matter just as much as the technology itself.
It's not the future. It's now.